Welcome into the Cowboys Report, made possible today by Roan. Their commuter collection can get you straight through any workday and right into whatever comes next. Get 20% off your order at roan.com/chatsports. I'm rocking one of their incredibly comfortable and stylish polos. Tell you more about them later on in today's show as we begin with the interesting idea/claim posed by Bleacher Report. They went through and named the most important contract extension for each NFL team before training camp this year. And they went with Tony Pollard, which is not the route I would have guessed they would have gone. Now, Pollard has already signed his roughly $10.1 million franchise tag tender. The deadline for a long-term extension is on July 17th, or else Pollard plays on that $10.09 million tag. I have thoughts on this because it's not the route I would have gone, but here was the pitch from Bleacher Report. While Pollard is 26 years old and coming off of leg surgery, the 2022 Pro Bowler hasn't been a heavily utilized back to this point. He's logged just 510 carries in 4 years and doesn't carry the same risk of decline of every down backs like Elliott and Cook possess. The Cowboys also have little proven depth behind Pollard, with former Bucs castoff Ronald Jones being the most experienced backup. Extending Pollard now would leave far fewer questions in Dallas's backfield next offseason. Now, all that is true. The Cowboys don't have much proven depth behind Tony Pollard. He doesn't have the same heavy volume of workload as other backs have had over the course of not just their NFL careers, but even their college careers. Pollard's wear and tear, his usage, is much lower than a player due for his first contract extension. The issue you're going to run into here is the money, right? Tony Pollard on the franchise tag alongside Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, is already a top 10 highest paid back, at least for this year. There's no long-term security, of course, at this stage. What is worth mentioning is when we first began these conversations at the beginning of the offseason, Pollard was barely top 10. But then Dalvin Cook gets cut, Ezekiel Elliott gets cut, Aaron Jones restructures his deal. All these highest paid backs typically don't work out very well. Now, Pollard is undoubtedly the most time-sensitive back because guys like Lamb and Dak and Diggs and others can work on their extensions throughout training camp and even into the preseason and the regular season if needed. But I don't think that makes it the most important extension. There are other ones stand out. Maybe Terrence Steele fits this mold, but I'm looking at Trevon Diggs. I'm looking at CeeDee Lamb. I'm looking at Dak Prescott as players who are eligible up and the Cowboys allegedly want to get long-term deals done alongside Tony Pollard. I think you make great arguments that maybe all of those are more important than the running back. So what do you think is the number one priority in terms of the extension? DP for Dak Prescott, CL for CeeDee Lamb, TD for Trevon Diggs, or TP for Tony Pollard? That is the pinned comment on today's show. If the ad plays here on YouTube, ignore it. Go vote at the pinned comment right now. There are plenty of good arguments for each. Pollard's the most time-sensitive. Diggs might be the most complicated to get done. Lamb is maybe the most undisputed best of that group at his position. But here's how I would rank the extensions. I'm going to go 1A. I'll cheat and be a coward. Put Dak Prescott barely over CeeDee Lamb. Trevon Diggs is third for me. And Tony Pollard's fourth. It's a running back. It's just not as big of a priority as the more impactful, more important positions. In the end, I went with Dak just barely over CeeDee Lamb, who I think is also a must-do this offseason, because Prescott is going to be the most expensive one by a good margin. It's the most impactful one. He's the quarterback. And it would be the most controversial one because I know how we all feel about the Cowboys quarterback. So I went back and forth on Dak and Lamb in particular. I don't think there's a wrong answer necessarily, but I did go with the quarterback because you got to at least decide if you're going to do it this offseason. The Roan Commuter Collection is perfect. It allows you to get through the workday straight into whatever comes next. Golf, I can just wear this golfing. Drinks, night out, whatever it is, I can still wear this as well. Get 20% off your order at roan.com/chatsports. Men's closets were due for a radical reinvention, and Roan has stepped up to the challenge. The Commuter Collection is the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man thanks to the ability to have pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos. They have 4-way stretch fabric, provides breathability and flexibility, leaves you free to enjoy whatever life ends up throwing your ways after work, or if it's just a commute. You don't want to feel uncomfortable driving. That makes life certainly not fun. They have Gold Fusion anti-odor technology, so you'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long. And also wrinkle release technology, so gets rid of the wrinkles as you wear it more and more. The Commuter Collection gets you straight through the workday and into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/chatsports and use promo code chatsports. Save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off when you go to RHONE.com/chatsports and use code chatsports. Find your corner office comfort by going to Roan. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. Let's move to a potential roster. What about re-signing Anthony Brown, the veteran corner? Cowboys.com and Sports Illustrated both looked at this idea. Brown tore his Achilles in December, and there's been pretty much nothing out there on Anthony Brown at this stage. Been a very quiet offseason free agency for him, in large part because of his age. He's now on the wrong side of 30s, or getting there. And the Achilles injury, which raises big red flags about when he'll end up being healthy or not. We'll go more in depth on Anthony Brown and why I don't have any real interest in re-signing the veteran corner. But what would you guys do if you ran the Cowboys? Would you re-sign him? Y for yes, N for no. Go sound off in the comments. It is a no for me for a couple different reasons. I don't. The contract would probably be pretty cheap, 1 year, probably not that far off the vet minimum. But I look at this cornerback room right now, and I see Diggs, and I see Gilmore, and I see Bland as, okay, those guys are clearly going to be your top 3 guys. You already have one hurt veteran corner in Jordan Lewis. Deshaun Wright's banged up right now. You've invested in Eric Scott, in Kelvin Joseph. Israel Mukuamu is a piece I want on this roster over Anthony Brown. I think right now, even if healthy, Anthony Brown would be what? Corner 4, maybe 5? I don't know if you need to invest that because he's hurt. You have young guys who can fill that role for you. I do not need another hurt veteran corner on this roster. I feel pretty good overall about the depth. If you're trying to get through camp, which I could see Dallas adding another veteran corner with Jordan Lewis banged up and Deshaun Wright having missed some time at OTAs and minicamp, I could see him adding another corner, but that would be a healthy guy, not someone recovering from injury who wouldn't be out there for probably most of training camp there. So if you have not already, hit that sub button right now for more free Cowboys videos. All the news and rumors you guys could ever want right here on the Cowboys Report. Don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now. Let's go to some Mazi Smith conversation here. ESPN went through each of the team's first-round picks in the NFL and checked in on their statuses. So let's break down what Todd Archer of ESPN wrote. It says Dallas didn't do any 11-on-11 work during OTAs or minicamp, so making any judgment is difficult because, that's how no pads, no football really. The offseason work did allow Smith to learn what the coaches want from him technically, and they have said he has picked up everything fast. He has a willing mentor in Jonathan Hankins. There's also this from Zach Martin, by the way. You can tell on tape for a big man, Smith bends extremely well and is obviously very strong. Everyone knows that. He's going to be a great addition to our team. We should have some good battles in training camp, so says Zach Martin. We won't really get a good feel for Mazi Smith until camp gets going. Probably not even a week into camp when the pads actually go on. This is all about learning, adjustment, etc. The goal for Mazi Smith is to be a high-end impact run stopper, which I do believe he will be. If you want to maximize that first-round pick, though, you need to get a little bit more out of him as a pass rusher. Mazi Smith said he didn't have much of a pass rush plan in college. That will change in the NFL. So, reasons to be excited, but we won't really get a good feel for him until later on in training camp. Before we go, we did a recent comment challenge, I should say. Shout out to whoever comments the most on one video. That winner was for Voken, 123 comments. The next closest, I'm not making this up, was 69, but 123 was the winner. So for Voken, congrats and a big thank you to everyone who enjoyed and commented.